It's uncomfortable to be in an environment where people are pretending everything's all right. That's what I think is so exciting. For all the fact that this is a sci-fi show, it's really just about our world. It's really just exaggerating and extrapolating things in our world so that we might be able to look at them a little more keenly.
What sort of attracted you to this role and to this project, and how did you come to join?
I think the book has always been extremely fascinating. You know, the character is the bridge between the two. And I don't know, it felt extremely timely. And as a kind of serious cautionary tale to just really bring forward some very deep thought-provoking questions, I thought, let's jump on and go on this ride.
This is New London. Everyone's happy here. Everyone has a place. There's no hunger, no violence.
There's no pain there, John. Everyone fits. I've always wanted that for you.
The idea that the ways in which people are giving up their power and freedom would be because life got so convenient, and so they were made to feel that their life was so great that they gave up control in this way, as opposed to a more overt or obvious form of domination. And I thought that was really interesting. And then, you know, somewhat in the book, but also in the way that it was adapted in the series, I just thought taking on these giant societal questions, these philosophical ideas, but always traveling through them in moment to moment emotional experience with all these characters, in like the mess of how they're feeling, these unresolved things, how complicated it is throughout and how human it is, I thought was what made it more to me than just a sort of treatise about these ideas. It gave it this heart and this flesh that I thought made it really stand out.
The medicating and kind of the direction that we've also been going in disconnecting from feeling and seeking these, you know, external numbings. And this is kind of a, you know, on such a heightened level. But really, I think I so agree with you, Alden, on that question of our privacy, and that, you know, the prediction was that we would be asking for a chip to be placed inside of us. They would never have to force us, all based on convenience.
What was your way into sort of getting into the minds of these characters and figuring out who these people were?
We had the advantage in a way, or I guess I had the advantage in a way of the reality that my character knew was much more natural to the life I've actually lived. It's set in a world much more like, you know, the one I actually am in the real world. And so, you know, I think understanding that environment and then understanding, you know, my character doesn't understand really what the new world is like. And so I didn't have to do that heavy lifting that I've experienced on other things where you have to understand in and out the details of this completely different world.
Having had the reverse, having had a taste of something that held no pain, to then be thrust and subject to what it is to really be human. Like, she has to face what it is to be human, as well as the shame attached to what it is to be a mother. That bridge between all that's violent to, I think for me, was in the desperation to bring her son what appeared to be a better life, which I think at the core is what every mother wants.
Do you guys remember the first time you guys met and sort of what the sort of conversation you guys had about John and Linda's sort of dynamic was, and how you guys sort of started working on that together?
It was very interesting because Linda has very different perception of sexuality. There was an aspect of kind of crossing a line as we would all see it, to how she holds it into something that is, you know, for her, his behavior is so prudish. And so there was an element of how I behaved physically with him that we kind of looked at as something, as just an element that I'm bringing into this before you know who she is.
When I first read it, I felt like our scenes were in the tradition of kind of like great American theater scenes, you know, like Tennessee Williams or Eugene O'Neill. Like it felt like in that world, and I felt really excited about that, and that's in a way what those scenes felt like doing them.
Then episode 3 sort of throws you into this sort of really sort of harrowing sort of escape from this rebellion. I mean, what was it like for you both to sort of film that entire pretty sort of fast-paced, intense episode?
Well, I think, you know, physically those scenes are what they are. They're more physically rigorous and more athletic, and you have to do that stuff. On the other hand, they're a lot simpler to wrap your head around in terms of what you're doing. You know, it's hey, don't let that bullet hit you and run away from the bad guys who are shooting at you.
I mean, it was challenging to try to get everything we needed to get in telling the story, I would say, but a good kind of challenge, like what you want.
You know, I've been watching you people, but this place is so perfect. Why is it upside down?
Did you find anything sort of redeeming as you guys are working through those scenes about this new world, something that may be enviable?
No. I mean, there's something, not in terms of being enviable, but I think that what I came to feel in a way was that it is human in the sense that people are doing everything they possibly can to avoid feeling pain. And in a way, the new Londoners, to me, grew increasingly sympathetic in that they've just put in place a lot of kind of ill-advised tools to keep pain and fear and anxiety away. And of course, we all want to do that, but there's the way, there's avoiding it and trying to pretend it's not real, and then there's finding a way through it. It's uncomfortable to be in a place where people are not vulnerable. It's uncomfortable to be in an environment where people are pretending everything's all right. That's what I think is so exciting. For all the fact that this is a sci-fi show, it's really just about our world. It's really just exaggerating and extrapolating things in our world so that we might be able to look at them a little more keenly.
To not make mistakes, when in fact those are the very things that make us strong and dynamic. It's our vulnerability. It's our opportunity to fall down. It's not our wins. And when you exist in a world where it's all winning, it's boring. There's nothing about it that ultimately is what we really want. And I think that's what is so beautiful with what you were saying, Alden, is that it gets tedious. It's like if you go to hit a baseball and you know you're going to hit a home run every time, pretty soon the game isn't going to be that interesting. I haven't seen enough of the episodes, but I have to say it definitely leaves you wanting more. Like you really want to see where it's going.